Hey guys, and welcome back to another Draw With Me video. It's been a few weeks since my last one. I had KatsuCon mid-February, MagFest the following weekend, and the last day of MagFest I got really sick. I think I had the flu. I was bedridden and sleeping basically for 2 weeks straight, and I've been playing catch up with work and freelance and other projects. But so this is going to be another Illustrator demo. Again, I started in Photoshop. I didn't show the full sketching from beginning to end because it's not necessary, because the demo is for Illustrator and not for Photoshop. So this week I did something a little different with this one than the previous two. I used the pen tool to make the big flat shapes instead of using the blob brush. And I didn't draw any outlines, so there's no line art, it's all just flat shapes. I do add some supporting lines in certain areas, like on her face and in the wrinkles on her clothing, and then in her hair, but that's it. There's no actual line art, so everything is just big flat shapes in different colors. Now I'm also working on color palettes as I go. Unlike the last two videos, I didn't have a set color palette in mind when I started, so I didn't already have them created. So I've been opening up Illustrator's built-in swatches and playing around with different colors and blending them and finding the colors in between and making my own color palette with that. But that's why I switch up the colors so much, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to include some patterns somewhere, a very simple pattern, because I've been getting a lot of questions about the pattern options that I showed briefly in the last two videos, and I don't want to go too in-depth right off the bat because it can be really complicated. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with the pattern options in Illustrator. But I figured if I'm going to do a tutorial, I'd start you guys off on the simple side, and then I can make a full tutorial on how to use it. So coming up in the video, I'm going to do a small pattern demo in real time, so it won't be sped up, so you'll be able to see it. And I'll walk you through the basics of making a simple polka dot pattern, which I'm going to be adding to her undershirt collar. Okay, so let's start on this pattern tutorial. So we're going to do a simple polka dot pattern. Well, I make a very simple circle, and I'm going to open up my pattern options window in Illustrator under Windows, Pattern Options. And in the top right corner, you're going to see a little downwards arrow, and you're going to click on Make a Pattern. So I'm going to increase the size in the window here so you can see what's going on. Now, since the circle that I had selected was the only thing I had selected, Illustrator automatically makes a tile size the size of the object that I had selected. So obviously for a polka dot pattern, this is not going to work. It's way too tight. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to increase the size of the tile itself. And I'm going to hit done at the top of the screen. You can also double click outside of this preview area and it'll take you back to your artwork. So your pattern is made, and it's going to be now located over in your swatch menu. Now if I were to just click on her collar and add the pattern, it's going to make it transparent because I didn't have a solid color behind the circle in my pattern. So instead, I'm going to add a fill on top of the collar. So I'm going to go over to the Appearance tab, and I'm going to add a new fill on top of my brown fill, and I'm going to select my pattern. And you'll see that it keeps my color from before, as well as adding the pattern on top. Now you see the polka dots are way too big, so I'm going to scale these down, and I'm going to open up the scale menu, and I'm going to turn off transform objects, otherwise it'll take the entire item that I have selected here and it'll shrink it down. But I want to make sure that transform patterns is checked, and I'm going to check preview so I can see it live when I change the scale, and hit OK. Now I want the other side of the collar to have the exact same thing. I'm going to create a new graphic style. That way it will keep both of my fill layers, the solid color as well as the pattern. So I'm going to create the new style, and then I'm going to click on the other one and click on that style that I created, and you'll see the pattern is now across both of her collars. However, I still think that the circles are too close together. So how do I change my pattern? I go over to the swatch menu, that new swatch that has my pattern, I double click on it and it'll bring me back to the pattern options automatically. So I'm going to increase the space and hit done, and you see this a lot better, but they're still very squared off, like they're laid out in a grid, and I don't want them to do that. So I'm going to open up my pattern options again, and I'm going to change the tile type from grid to brick by row or brick by column. In polka dots it's not going to make much difference, and you'll see that it alternates, it offsets every other row, and you'll see that's much better. But now the polka dots are a little too bright. I'm going to lower their opacity, and because I have two fills set on the objects, I can actually alter the opacity of each fill individually instead of the whole object. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to set the polka dots to screen and lower the opacity down. So I'm going to add a new graphic style to add to the other collar, and that's it. Now I know this was a short tutorial, and overall with this piece I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I didn't want to go too big and crazy for my first tutorial on YouTube. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you learned something. If I went too fast or you have any other questions, please let me know. Please comment below or contact me on social media. I do have plans for more art videos and more tutorials in the future, so I'd love to know what you guys think. And subscribe to my channel. I have a couple videos coming up real soon, so we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye.